Hi, Bright Idea family. Welcome back to our channel. Listen, I want to take a second to ask you to do three things for me. If you are really enjoying this content and you're finding that this is helpful, I want you to like, subscribe, and share. And I want to welcome you for this presentation of the Foundations of Special Education Advocacy. This is a course that is designed for parents, and the purpose of this course today is to give you some tools that you can use, some real hands-on stuff that you can put into practice like right now to help you get the services that you need for your child. I don't know where you are in the world, so I'm not even sure if I should say good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, but wherever you are, welcome. As always, I always like to let people know what we're going to be talking about as we go through the trainings. I just think it's good for you to have a point of reference so that you can keep track of where we are and where we're going. I'm going to open up by telling you a little bit about me and a little bit about Bright Idea. So I'm going to let you know about us. Then we're going to go through the objectives. What do I hope that you walk away from this training with? I'm going to let you know that in just a second. We're going to take a pre-assessment just to kind of gauge where you are now, and then we're going to do a post-assessment to gauge where you are after we're done. That is just the teacher in me. And it's also good for you because it kind of lets you know kind of where you are. And then we're going to talk about the advocacy strategies. That's the thing that you came here for. So I'm going to make sure we spend some time on that and give you the meat of that. And then afterward, I'm going to talk to you about a special offer for those of you who want to learn more and learn how to be a better advocate for your child when it comes to getting those special education services. All right. So, for those of you who don't know me, let us get acquainted. My name is Dr. Rolanda Fabian. And for those of you who don't know me, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am very family oriented. I'm a mom and a wife, and I love spending time with my family and making sure that they are getting what they need, probably very much like you. I am a military veteran. That's a little known fact about me. I spent 8 years in the U.S. military as I was in the Army first, and then I transitioned over to the Army National Guard. And so I did that for the first 8 years before I even went to college. The Army kind of helped me segue into what I really wanted to do. And so I transitioned into civilian life and went to school and I studied psychology and counseling. But I really landed in education, special education to be exact. So I went back to school to get my certificates and certifications and my doctorate in teaching and learning. And here I am today. I'm a fierce advocate of underrepresented and marginalized people, making sure that they have equitable access to the things that everybody else has. I want to make sure that people who are minorities or people with disabilities and other underrepresented people have what they need to be successful in this world. That's why I chose to do this work and to go into the education field. I also have spent over 20 years as a special education teacher and administrator. And now the work that I do focuses more on parents and helping them to learn to advocate for themselves and for their children. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about me, let me tell you what it is that we're going to be doing today. Today's training is what I hope that you will have when you finish this training is you will have that opening assessment where you are able to gauge just where you are, where your understanding is when it relates to special education. Then I want to talk to you about definitions because you probably know, just like I do, you've been in meetings and in the beginning, some of this stuff just goes right over your head. Well, I want to be sure that while we're here together during this training, that you are clear on what I'm saying. So I'm going to give you some definitions before we even get started. So as I use the terms, you're familiar with what I'm talking about. I'm also going to talk with you about those advocacy strategies. So that is the reason that you came here, and I'm going to give you four tools today that you can put into your toolbox and put into practice so you can start seeing a change in how you maneuver and how you work around the school system to meet the needs of your child. Then I'm also going to give you a post assessment. So now that we've taken the pre assessment, you kind of know where you are. I'm going to give you a post assessment so you can really gauge where you are. And after that, depending on what you need, I'm going to talk to you about a special offer that we have. Okay, so I was trying to move my screen so that I could be out of the way of the content that you're about to see, but I wasn't able to do that. But I promise you, I'll talk you through whatever it is that you're going to miss. What we want to do first, before I even get into the definitions or anything, let me go ahead and give you your pre-assessment. I'm going to ask you a series of 5 questions. They're just true, false statements, give you a chance to answer them, and then we're going to talk about the answers to those after we're done, and then we'll move into our training. Okay? All right, so question number 1. I asked the question that there are only 2 special education plans. The answer to that is actually false. Most people know about 2 education plans. They know about a Section 504 plan and they know about individualized education plan, the IEP. Those are the 2 that most people know about. But actually, there are several other types of plans that are available to help students who have special needs. So the answer to that is false. There's more than 2 types of special education plans, and we'll talk more about that as you get deeper into the training. All students with disabilities are required to have a special education plan. Is that true or false? The answer to that is false. There are so many students who are being served in the education system that have disabilities that really don't need a plan. No, students with disabilities are not required to have a plan unless their disability is keeping them from accessing education the way a student would if they didn't have a disability. So the answer to that is false. Not every student with a disability needs a plan. Now, statement number 3, schools have up to 30 days to complete an evaluation to determine if your child is eligible to receive special education services. Up to 30 days. The answer to that is also false, right? According to the law, schools have up to 90 days to complete your evaluations for special education eligibility. Now, if it's a re-evaluation, most places will give up to 30 days, but the truth of the matter is, legally, it says that they have to be re-evaluated in a timely manner. That's what the law says. It doesn't say that it has to be within 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but schools know that they have to do this without delay. And so in most cases, they do this sooner than later, the reevaluations. But if it's your child's first time being evaluated for services, the law specifically says up to 90 days. So, and I know parents get impatient sometimes because you feel like you've been waiting a long time, but if you haven't had gone through that 90 days of an initial evaluation, you still have more time. And then if it's a reevaluation, you just want to kind of stay on top of that because typically schools usually have what they need. If they need to do another assessment, it shouldn't take them more than necessary, more than a reasonable amount of time according to what the law says. Okay. So again, the answer to that is false. So far we've got false, false, and false. Next question is, eligible children with special needs can receive special education services at birth. Is that true or false? Right? It sounds like that's not possible, but according to the law, this is actually true, right? It says that students with disabilities or children with disabilities can receive services from 0 to 12th grade to 21, okay? From 0 to 21. So if you have a child who is eligible for special education services, yes, there is a section of the law that says that they can receive services from 0 to 3 and then from 3 to 21. Okay, so that is actually true. And then the last question, an advocate can do what an attorney can do. They're pretty much the same. The answer to that is false. People get confused between what an advocate and an attorney can do and who they are and what their role is. An attorney can do everything an advocate can do, but an advocate cannot do everything an attorney can do because an attorney has specialized training. They carry a heavier burden because of their specialized training. They have special tests that they have to take. They have to be past the bar. So an attorney is quite different than what an advocate can do. Now, as a parent, you are more than capable of being an advocate for yourself and for your child or anyone else if after you go through the training. So we want to make sure that you understand the difference between when you might need an attorney and when you can advocate on your own. Okay, so they're not the same. The answer to that is false. All right. So you've gone through your pre-assessment. And here's your table. And I'm sorry that my camera is over, but I'll just read it to you. If you got 5 out of 5, you're probably pretty knowledgeable about special education. We would consider you, to be an expert. Well, not an expert in special education, but definitely an expert at this assessment. You have 5 out of 5. If you got 4 out of 5, we say, hey, you're still pretty savvy. You got some things that you're questioning on, but you may also you've also done pretty good with this assessment. If you got less than 3 out of 5 or 3 or less, then you're a newbie. And hey, no shame in being a newbie. We were all there before, so it's just going to take a little bit more time and we'll have to give you a little bit more information, but you can get exactly where you need to be. Okay? So whether you're an expert, savvy, or you're a newbie, we have something for you. Okay? All right, so let's go on and go to the next slide, and I can tell you a little bit more about what you came here for, those advocacy strategies. All right. So before I talk to you about those strategies, let me talk to you about these definitions because this is very important. And because I want to make sure that my wording is just right, I'm going to grab my notes and I'm going to read to you from my notes. These are the definitions that we're going to use for the sake of this training because these are the definitions that will make the most sense when you're advocating for your child. So when we talk about disability, we're specifically talking about any condition, right? Of the mind or of the body, right, that keeps your child or makes it difficult for a person with a condition to do the same activities or interact with the world around them as any other person would. So if you're a child or someone you know with a disability has a condition where their mind or body is going on, it makes it difficult for them to interact, to do certain activities with the world around them, with their environment, then that's what we would consider a disability, right? Did I say anything about doctors? No, I didn't, because sometimes the disabilities that people have are not necessarily diagnosed by a doctor. But if that condition is continuing to prohibit them from accessing their environment or their learning, we would consider that a type of disability. Okay. All right. So special education. Special education means that this is designed, especially designed to meet the unique needs of the student or person that has a disability, right? It's a modified or an alternate type of instruction, and it goes beyond what is provided for a traditional student who does not have a diagnosis or a disability, right? The type of instruction will impact things like academics. It will help with behavioral issues, health conditions, physical conditions, and any other special types of supports or services that are needed. So all those types of services and supports that are provided are to help across all those different areas. And it's, like I said, it goes beyond what is provided to a student that doesn't have a disability. That's what we mean by special education. Okay?
At Bright Idea, we're here to ensure you feel supported, educated, and empowered. As a parent of a child with special needs, we understand how overwhelming it can be and are here to help. Our team and online training courses are here to educate, empower, and support you to be the advocate your child needs. Visit brightideaco.com for more information. Bright Idea, empowering and educating to affect change and get results.